So here, whenever you work, especially when we deal with ADO.NET, there is one systematic approach. And what is that approach? We'll come up with one simple picture. Okay. So here I write architecture of ADO. Okay. Now, in this architecture, hmm, okay, this part will be for client process. Here I write client process. Okay, somewhere here I'll write here. This is for what? Client process. Now, this is our client process. Client process. Now, in this client process, here I'll come up with server and database here. This is your server, database server. And inside this database server, we have a database also. Okay, this is our database. Okay. And to communicate with this database server and database, we are going to do some process in C#. So this is my database. And the other one was database server. Or I better write server machine. Okay. This is your database, and this is your server. Right. Now, mm, now in this database, mm, we'll have some objects and all everything. Okay. Now, coming to another scenario, as I was talking about the communication process in this one, what do you call client process? It will actually undergo with here one block. Let me draw that block. Here I'll draw. Here. So there is one block. What is this block called? That I will write. And based on that, we will make a process. Now, before this box, two things we have again. Before. One is your application, and second is data set. Two things. Put both of them here. One application, and second data set. Okay. Now, first comes here I write application. Here I write data set. Okay, two things. One application and one data set. And there is no connection between this data set and what this block. Now I'll write the name of this block. This block is called managed provider. Managed provider. Okay, that which is also called by name what? Connected model. Second block, unmanaged provider. Okay, so this is managed provider, which is also called by what name? Connected model. Okay, now inside this data set, now we are going to come up with first block, that which you call as data adapter. Data adapter. Now, still to go with the other process that you have after data adapter, three things will be there here. Three things. And the three things, one is called command, second is called connection, and third is called uh, data reader. Yeah. Three things: command, connection, data reader. Three things. Okay. Now, here I say first data adapter. Then here you call command, and here you call connection, and here you call data reader. Three things: data adapter, then command, connection. Three things. Now, the approach that you have is application can have a connection with dataset. Second, application can have a connection with command. Application can have a connection with data reader. Data adapter can have link with connection, and a command can have a connection with connection, and connection can have a link with data reader. Data reader. And finally, this connection can go to server and then to database. Yes. And inside the database, whatever the objects we have, that it will access. Or it can communicate only with database, or it can go with what? Fine. Now, interesting part of this total architecture is what we find is, as far as ADO.NET is concerned, we have been provided to work with 4 managed providers. 4 managed providers. What are they? How do you use them? That part I'll highlight. Okay. One is called system.data.sql client. This is to communicate with SQL server. SQL server to communicate purely for SQL. SQL. Second is there system.data. What do you call that? One is there for OLEDB. What more we have? For Oracle we have special system.data.oracle client. This is for Oracle database. Third one, system.data.OLEDB. Okay, this is for different databases. Fourth, system.data.ODBC. This is also for different databases. And if you look into the other part of this concept, what we find is this is slow in working, this is fast in working. But both of them will work for multiple databases. These are the 4 managed providers that which we have provided through what? ADO.NET. ADO. 4 managed providers. Here only I'll give. Yes. Now close this. This is the architecture of ADO. Now we will go to now straight Visual Studio. Now for going to Visual Studio, remember one thing. No, and another important thing also I'll write. Same architecture. The point of view, you can make a conclusion of how it makes. the use of word. Okay, here you can say. So better I write down now. I'll keep this on top so that connecting this, I'll write few things in bottom. Okay, now what is it? Here, when I say client, when I say SQL client, all I'll write here. System dot data dot SQL client. For this, all these works like this now. First, SQL command, then SQL connection, then SQL data reader. Three. And fourth one, SQL data adapter. When you communicate with SQL Server, that four managed provider objects are there, no? Data adapter, command, connection, data reader. They change like this, SQL. And when you work with system.data.oracle client, then you find it is Oracle command. Then you find Oracle connection. Then you find Oracle data reader. Then you find Oracle data adapter. Then when you work with data.oledb, hey, you're following or not? You're all with me or not? Everyone in the group, use chat panel. Confirm me once. Are you all listening? Okay, okay. Anand, okay. Following everyone, because I already said this is the backbone for your C Sharp.net. You can't take anything for granted in this topic, okay? Everything, because the ultimate goal of going for C Sharp.net is this topic only. So the OLEDB. OLEDB command. Then we have OLEDB connection. Then we have OLEDB, here also D capital. OLEDB data reader. Then OLEDB data adapter. Yes. Then we come up with system.data.odbc. Then we have ODBC command. Then we have ODBC connection. Then we have ODBC data reader. Then we have ODBC data adapter. These are the managed provider objects. 4 objects. This is for SQL Server. As I already mentioned, this is going to work for SQL Server. Then this will work for Oracle software. And this will work for OLEDB. Then this will work for ODB. Yes. And these are the sub-objects. These are all called objects of SQL client. Objects of a SQL client. These all are objects of these comes under OLEDB and this comes under ODB. Yes. Save all this. So this one was missing. I have added. So that you'll have instant reference. Okay, fine. Now, coming to the point, listen to me carefully. What I want to do is now, I want to create a database in SQL Server. I want to create a database. And even in the database, I want to create one object also. But first, let me complete database process. How do you create a database? So, two things I'll say here. Two things. First, let me explain you what I'm trying to do so that you'll get to know easy. Here, first part I'm covering. Listen carefully. What I want you to do. First, I said this is scenario one. Now it is left to you. I'm covering both. Whichever you feel convenient, you can go for it. First scenario, what I'm saying is you have to open SQL Server Management Studio. Management Studio. Okay. And in this Management Studio, you have to connect to DB or database engine. That is database server. After that, what you have to do? Create a database. Oh, now what I want is we created, but you want the database to be available for Visual Studio. You want to create a database. You have created a database through Management Studio by going with by after connecting to database engine, right? Then you created database. Now what do you want? This created database. Now you can now you can add a connection in Visual Studio. Add a connection of what? Of created database in Visual Studio. I'm saying this as one scenario. You can do in this way. Okay. Now, second scenario, scenario 2. What I want you to do, open Visual Studio. Okay. You have one special explorer called Server Explorer in Visual Studio. Server Explorer. Under Server Explorer, create a database for SQL Server. Then what will happen? This database will be created at SQL Server. So anyways, the point is we are creating database at SQL Server. Common term of both scenarios. Only difference. Can anyone say what difference you have noticed? Anyone can say? What difference? In these two, what is the difference you noticed? Common point, both of them are creating database at SQL Server. No doubt. There also I created database that was already being in SQL Server I created, and we had a connection of it through Visual Studio. Here directly in Visual Studio we have a special server called Server Explorer. Through that I create a database. and the database will be created again at SQL Server only. So Visual Studio has just become a mediator now. Now I'm asking you, what is that you people have noticed a difference of these two scenarios? Fast. Yeah, Romana. Are you there, Romana? Romana, are you there? Romana, are you there, Romana? Anand, what difference you noticed of these two? What difference you noticed, Anand? नहीं, no. Only one difference. Only one difference. If you compare of these two. For scenario one, you should have a knowledge of this management studio. Management studio. Here we are directly managing everything through what? Visual Studio. We don't need management studio at all. Otherwise, you have to take support of management. So now at this stage, some are aware of management studio, some are not aware of management studio. So it is better I avoid. Avoid. So I'll try to do everything through a concept of Visual Studio only. And after completion of database creation, then I'll get back to you on next part. Fine. Let's see now. Open now Visual Studio. Now see carefully. Even even I'm not going to project. Srinivas, even I'm not opening C Sharp project, Srinivas. Okay. I'm not opening C Sharp project. We are not entering into C Sharp project. Okay. Remember that. So now my intention of creating database through Visual Studio. Only one reason. Just I want to avoid management studio. Right? So for that, go to view menu. You have an option. Server Explorer. Or you can say Control plus Alt plus S. Control plus Alt plus S. Or you can go to view menu, and after going to view menu, you can go to Server Explorer. Now here I remove already some connections are there which I demonstrated for other batches. I'll remove them. Delete. Fine. Now data connection. Now what you have to do? Right click on data connection. Two options are there you see. Two options. First option, add connection. When do you use add connection? If you have created a database, if you have created a database through Management Studio, and then you want the database to be accessed from Visual Studio, then you need to add, what? Data connection. You have to add a connection. Then if I go to second option, create new SQL Server database, which means now we are going to create a database using Visual Studio from Server Explorer. Add connection indicates we are creating connection for existing database. Here, create new SQL Server database, when I'm saying, it means you're doing two things. You're creating plus you're adding connection. You're creating plus you're adding connection. Go for it then. Create new SQL Server database. Server name. You can keep dot. Dot, I already said no. Local server. Already I said please. Local server. Or you can type system name. Or you can type local host. Or you can type 127.0.0.1. So as of now I placed dot. And database name. MS Demo DB. Now my question is this database created in .NET or database created in SQL Server? This is created where? Is it created in Visual Studio or is it created in SQL Server? Where is this database created? Uh, database created database created at SQL Server and created through Visual Studio. Through Visual, but at SQL Server. Because Visual Studio is not database software, right? Visual Studio, it's not database where it will create database. No, there's no chance. Visual Studio is not just a tool that has that that has allowed you to create what? Database. And I named this database for our understanding as MS Demo DB. Some name. Click on OK. Yeah. See there how the name has come now. The name. This is my local machine name. This is my local server. System name, I mean to say. Then I have database. Database containing schema, DBO. And if you expand this, you'll get all these things now. If you want to create a table, don't go to Management Studio now. Everything you manage in Visual Studio itself. You want to create a table, right click and then add new table. Over. It will support you to create a table. You want to create procedure, right click, add new stored procedure. You want to create a view, right click, add view. Right click, add synonym. Right click, add type. Right click, add assembly. Like that. Srinivas, did you understand Srinivas? No confusion now? Okay, Srinivas. Fine. Still, we are not in C sharp. Okay, remember that, please. We are not yet into C sharp. There is no C sharp application still in the picture. This is only Visual Studio, and I'm talking about a new explorer called Server Explorer. We were aware of Solution Explorer. Today, we have come up to learn something about Server Explorer. Solution Explorer, Control plus Alt plus L. Server Explorer, Control plus Alt plus S. Now you need to know something which is important. Again, so now we follow the scenario 2. Was it scenario 1 process or scenario 2 process? Obviously, scenario 2 process I implemented. Okay, scenario 2. Now listen. What did I do? I opened Visual Studio. Then I went to Server Explorer. Under Server Explorer, I set to create a database. Create a database. And for this database, when this database, what is the name I created? MS Demo DB. Okay, and it is created at SQL Server. Created at SQL Server. And remember, whenever we create a database in SQL Server, remember this database or any database, which is whenever it is created in SQL Server, it is by default gets associated with this database is associated with two files. This database is associated with what now? Two files, and it is not about SQL Server. Every database does that. Every database. I don't know whether your people are aware of it or not. At least now remember, please remember. If you have a confusion, yes, you have. Yes, Romana. Now you are going to get two files for every database, and I'm saying this is in every RDBMS. But I'm not saying that these are the two files you'll get. No, I'm saying every database is going to create files for database, not two files. It may create different files, different databases. But interesting is files are available. What are they? This is first file ms demodb.mdf, and one more file ms demodb underscore log.ldf. One is MDF, one is LDF, two files. Master data file, log data file. Log data file. And if same story I do for Oracle, Oracle has different approach. Oracle has different approach. If I do the same for what do you call MySQL, MySQL, then you have different approach again. So it means from one server to from one database to another database, you have different files that are available. And where are these files then? Where are these files? You want to see them? Come back, see them. This PC. C drive, program, Microsoft here, MS SQL, MS SQL Server, MS data. Yes, here you find msdemodb.mdf, msdemodb underscore log.ldf. This is the path. I'll copy this for your reference here. This is the path of these two files. Both files are available here. And this MDF is there na, master data file is na, it is actually called primary data file. MDF is also primary data file. And the moment this file is created, na, this file, primary data file, is created, SQL server immediately allocates memory for it. Initial capacity. It will go to 4 MB. Initial capacity of the file it allocates will be 4 MB. 4 MB is very less, right? Very less capacity. That is the reason what they gave. Microsoft what has done. Initial, you can change that. Not interested 4 MB, change it to 40 MB. Not interested for 40 MB, change to 1024 MB. That will go to 1 GB. 2048 MB, 2 GB. I said initial, default capacity. Acha, what is the story? If that 4 MB is filled, what it will do? SQL Server automatically starts incrementing by 1 MB. Increment 1 MB. Increments 1 MB. This 1 MB till where it will go? Till where it will go? I'm talking about max size. It's mentioned unlimited. Srinivas, following Srinivas. Raghav, are you there? Four things. Three things. Initial capacity, increment, max, unlimited. Unlimited means what? Is it infinite? No. Unlimited is also limited only. Unlimited is also limited. Then if it is limited, why they mention it as unlimited? Because it can go up to 16 TB. 16 TB. But problem is we don't have hard disk of 16 TB. Because we don't have hard disk of 16 TB, Microsoft has mentioned it as unlimited. But broad analyzation is unlimited is not infinite. Unlimited is also limited. Limited to what? 16 TB. And same concept for log file. Same concept. The moment log file is created, initial capacity will be 1 MB. Increments 10% of 1 MB. Max is up to 2 TB. This is also actually referred as unlimited only, but capacity is up to 2 TB. Why it is less? Why they mention it as less? Only reason why they mention it as less is log file is reusable. Means automatically it gets reused. After reaching to certain capacity, it automatically starts from the beginning again. But MDF after reaching, imagine maximum size 16 TB. Say for example, we stored 16 TB of data. After that, again it will not come back. It will not start overwriting. That process will not happen. Now imagine a situation like if your database, if you have a data of 50 TB, 50 TB, 50 TB data you have, you plan to store 50 TB data. If you have decided to store 50 TB data, but MDF file can store up to 16 TB only, then Microsoft has given one more provision, and that provision is you can start adding. You can start adding. What you can add? A special file here you can add. I'll show you here. Yeah. Yeah. A special file. A special file. This should be added. Add. These are default. This is default. This is default. This is added. What do you add? What do you add? No? We add. We add. Now a file. I named like this. msdemodb underscore f1 dot. Remember, this file will have extension dot ndf, which is called secondary data file. This is called secondary data file, and ndf represents next data file. ndf, meaning of ndf is next data file. Next data file. And story, same story. Initial 4 MB, increments 1 MB, max unlimited, default up to 16 TB. What about this 50 TB? I said 50, but this is only 32 TB. 16 TB, 16 TB, 32 TB. Then what you should do? Add one more NDF. Add one more NDF. An NDF. So now the story goes like this. Database of SQL Server can have one MDF, one LDF, and 32,767 NDF. Now, if you start calculating 32767 NDF plus 1 MDF so better I go plus 1. I'll write here. I say 32768 multiplied by 16 TB. That will give you 5,24,000 some 288 TB of data. Calculate. Open calculator. 32768 multiplied by 16. 5,24,288 TB of data. And if you divide this by 1024, you get 512 PB, which is found to be approximate size of one database in SQL Server. Go for it. Open calculator. 5 lakhs 24,288 divided by 1024. 512. 512 what? Petabyte. 512 what? Petabyte. That is the maximum capacity of approximate as it's more than, because I just have calculated only about this MDS and all. There are a lot of things to focus even on that, but I didn't talk on all that stuff. Followed everyone. Do you understand what I'm doing here? We found the database size now. One database size of SQL Server will be in this way, and these all NDF, LDF, NDF, all these are what? Physical files. But they are in hard drive, physical files. Database will have physical files. Where are they now? They are in hard disk. Hard disk, hard disk. Then what is database? Database is just a name here now. It is a name. That name it shows, and background means that database is dependent on what? Files. Database is operated through files. So you can understand that background support for database is what? Files only. That is the reason database is what? Logical container. Logical container. You create a table. You store data. It looks like it is storing in database. Nothing is there in database. Database is just like looks to be dummy containing pointers. Where is then where is the data? It is all happening at files only. Files. Now my question is, if I want to create one database of 512 petabyte, do you have any hard disk of that size today? Do you find any hard disk of petabyte? Hardly today we find hard disk of 16 TB or 8, or 16 TB also we don't have. Might be 4 or 8 TB we have. I'm not sure about that new component if they have manufactured of it, but then how do you store? That is the reason what IT companies will do if they have projects, continuous projects, if they're expecting to the company that which are connected with SQL Server. So definitely they cannot manage all databases through hard disk. They purchase storage devices. They will purchase what? Storage devices. Mostly used one storage device in IT companies. It's called Sandbox. SANBOX. Sandbox. Those storage devices will have huge capacity. Very easily they can manage 512 capacity databases. Easily they can manage, because they will not be of the normal machine. They'll be quite very big in size, that those machines, storage devices. How everyone is convenient or not comfortable? Did you understand what the story of all this? Hmm. Chalo then, fine. Okay, we'll stop this session. Here, my database is ready. Here, see, Server Explorer you open. Yes. Even if you go to Management Studio, Management Studio will also show you this database. Management Studio will also show you what? This database. Yeah. Software I'll share, Srinivas. Okay. It's taking very much time, for just to upload it is taking around 1.5 hour for me. Like